pandemic special.
A pandemic special?
At the end of the show?
At the end of the show. What is going on? What is happening?
What is going on?
Vice. It's a vice to the world. Cody, what's going on, Code? The headline here. Cryogenically frozen flies are being revived in Uruguay to fight screwworm plague.
Oh,
The
I have so many questions.
The flies bred in a lab will be imported in a dormant state, revived and released from airplanes to combat the destructive screwworm.
Oh my gosh. It's a nice little test for like our trips to Mars and stuff.
Millions of frozen flies will soon be on their way to Uruguay, which will then be reanimated and unleashed into the countryside to combat a plague of a parasitic fly species in the country, the screwworm.
They're fighting flies with flies.
Fight flies with flies. I was trying to find the jingle for "Screw Your Freedom." I thought it would go well here, but yeah.
Yes. Well,
the screwworm fly, which is native to the Americas, gets its name for screwing into the flesh of warm-blooded mammals, then laying eggs which hatch larvae.
Why do they got to do that?
Living tissue.
Why can't these insects just be normal, man?
I think all insects are just derived from Satan.
Do really messed up stuff.
I'm just saying, part of the fall. I bet you in the curse of the fall, just insects.
Yeah,
that's what
it's just like can there just be one cool bug that doesn't want to hurt me very badly for no reason?
While most fly species larvae eat mostly dead flesh, the screwworm's larvae attaches to living creatures and can cause severe tissue damage and death to its host, making them particularly dangerous for livestock like cows and goats. In Uruguay, livestock production is a major industry, and the screwworm reportedly causes losses of $40 million a year, according to the Uruguayan government. And it goes into the Uruguayan.
They lost $40 million. There's hackers, there's fishers, they're scamming our grandparents and taking their savings accounts.
This reminds me too.
Insects are criminals.
We didn't talk about the Netherlands farmers' protest today, but I learned that they're they're like big exporters of some farm stuff. I forget what it was. Yeah, we got to touch on it.
Nitrogen, I believe, is one of the big ones.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that on the last show, but there was another thing that they did. I can't remember what it was now.
Okay.
I just bring it up just in the context of, agriculture warfare. We're kind of seeing worldwide.
Right.
Let's see. Uruguay.
This is a crazy story. So they are cryogenically. They are creating super soldiers, fly super soldiers, cryogenically freezing them, and then airdropping them deploying them over enemy territory as they reanimate them. Their words, not mine. This is very interesting.
Yeah, so to fight it, Uruguay will import the army of cryogenic flies in a dormant state and will revive the insects in a lab, Matos said, then release them from airplanes. The flies were bred in a Panamanian laboratory. That instills a lot of confidence. Panamanian laboratories. It's probably got a little genetic splicing Nephilim action going on there. And sterilized, unable to produce larvae. Beginning in September next year, officials will disperse millions of flies per week in defined zones that will build a containment barrier around the small South American nation along its borders with Argentina and Brazil. So part of this agricultural warfare is, we got to do something about it. Yeah, unleash the genetically modified, cryogenically frozen flies.
Yeah, this sounds like a Bill Gates situation.
It does.
I mean, it just sounds like something he'd really love. He'd be a huge fan of.
Yeah, they talk about how the tactic has proved successful in the past. Technique first began in the 1950s in the U.S. and was slowly introduced through the North and Central America over ensuing decades. Collectively, nations from the U.S. to Panama eliminated the screwworm fly, creating a final barricade of sanitized flies in the southern tip of Panama on a border river with Colombia that separates Central and South America. So, there you go. There's some genetically.
Watch out for these.
We're just getting a lot of stories about
super soldiers.
We're getting a lot of stories about genetically modified insects doing stuff on our behalf, and I don't know that it's going to end
for Jurassic Park. It should be fine.
Great entertainment.